up, y'all? It's your sister girlfriends, and we back just like that in 2023. Bigger, better, and bolder. And of course, this is your girl Tip Birch, and I'm glad to see y'all. And I hope you can join us on some Sister Girlfriend podcast.
It's your girl, Brittany. We're so glad to be back. We are ready. We have experienced so much in our lives. So we're ready just to share, have some fun, get deep. So we hope that you will journey with us as we learn and grow together.
All right. It's your girlfriends, Amanda. Thank you for joining us and thank you for rocking with us. You like what you see, you like what you hear, reach out to us, like, share, subscribe, because there's more to come. And like my sister said, we have been growing and we just been growing in friendship and growing in love for each other and just for, you know, girlfriendhood and womanhood. So you're in for a treat.
Stay tuned.
So we are back at it, season 2, Sister Girlfriends. We are excited to be with you all. We felt like as we had our meetings and we talked through some things we wanted to share with the world, we thought this month, International Women's Month, the month that they celebrate women throughout the world, that this would be a great time for us to put our first episode out for season 2. So welcome into our space, our Sister Girlfriend space. So this month, we are talking about friendships with women and what does it look like to be friends, and you're making history and life is changing and there's so much going on, right? So when we think about people celebrating our accomplishments, a lot of times they celebrate certain things. Someone just got married, or they just got a promotion, or they just bought a home. But there's so many things that we can celebrate as
Yeah.
girlfriends. But in the midst of that celebration, there's always a story and there's always a journey of getting to that point in our lives. And a lot can happen within our friendships that we don't necessarily understand. But there's a lot of great things too that happen and we don't talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
We don't talk about it. So we know in order for us to even make history, we need our sister girlfriends. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about things that we've noticed in culture and personal lives, to things that we've learned from, right? Things that we learn from. And hopefully y'all can relate. Y'all can relate. So let's just start off that way, y'all. What does it mean for us to get to certain points in our lives where we celebrate? What does that typically mean for our friendships?
That's good, Bree. Ooh, showing up sometimes, and I think that, you know, when we talk about like what does that look like over time, right? It's, you know, obviously I didn't grow up with y'all in my childhood, but just thinking about what does it mean to celebrate your girlfriends or like being there. And a lot of times people say show up. And I'm learning as I'm evolving and getting older, there's so many different things going on in the world, in your life. What does it mean to show up, right? Because I may want to be there, but situations may cause me not to be there, right? And I think that's a part of development and asking, really being mature is what I've learned a lot of with my friendship is that I know my friends, right? And even they don't make it to everything because of what the case may be, I really can tell those who are with me, like my sisters that really care about my well-being, because it's not just in this moment. It's been throughout my life, my ups and my downs and good and bad and whatever the case may be. And so evaluating that, because I remember when I was younger, like in high school and undergrad, I'm like, they didn't show up. I was counting people. I'm like, so-and-so was here. So-and-so gave me a car, you know, so-and-so, I ain't going to their stuff, you know, and that's how that's for me, I ain't gonna say we, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, evaluated that. Like, how do people, if people care by showing up? I think now as I'm older, I look at that different. And I, you know, and I ain't gonna say older in a sense, but I mean wiser and mature, that looks different and what that means, right?
You ain't come to my
right. Well, you know,
I sent you a text at 12.
Right.
But I saw you on social media. Why you texting me?
it's the truth. Like it was really people did that for real though. It
But
cut you
people do that
off, cut
though.
you off because you
Yeah.
didn't show up.
But people do. I think those things come up for everybody though. At either one point in your life, like
Right.
if you're being honest, those feelings or those thoughts are going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think what you said, Tiffany, for me matters because I think that was true. That is true for me. Is that maturity and once you experience life, you look at things differently, right? Because certain people, and depending on your life, people may be busier than you are at certain points in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's other times of things slow down for people, and you know, we're journeying together, we're friendships, we're in a friendship, we're sisters, but those things happen, you know, and in those times of celebration, Women's History Month, celebrate in those times of celebration, like everyone may not be there, but I think what's important is that we find time and ways to show up, you know, and being open and honest and having some clarity about where we are, I think helps in those moments. You know, it helps in those moments.
I want to take it back to childhood when you just have fun with your friends. When fun. And I think as we get older and we get stressed out, not even older but stressed out, but like responsibilities can come on, and like friends, you just stop having fun, and you just everything is just business, or not even business, but we just talking about life and the troubles of the world. Even though your friends, you want your friends to be there for the hard times. I learned that to remember to have fun with my friends.
Man, I like that you mentioned that about the fun because we do as adults, and fun looks different too, right? And what that looks like when we become adults, like in the interest that we have as sisters, as sister girlfriends, like we go through and be like, okay, but we forget, we come burnt out, stressed out. And I think about how even in that we remind our our girlfriends, like, hey, life is this, it's stressful, but then how do we show up in those moments to remind them, like, hey, but we still got to make the best of, we still got to make it fun, we still got to bring this out and implementing that and to remind our friends of that. Because, girl, you know me, I got to have me a good old good time. My birthday is, honey, whole weekend. Say what you want to say, but we about to listen. Take it back. Old school cookout, what? Down the slide, water slide. Best thing in the world. And you know what? Let me tell you something. One thing, I had some friends in that moment was in childhood that stuck it out with me. We didn't have the fanciest or whatever. It was the friends that I knew they can come over my house and my grandparents' house, and they was down. They was okay, and it was like that was it.
Because
Oh my gosh.
yeah, but there's something to that because
Yeah.
I think about when we do get together with our girlfriends and we may be at a point where we're celebrating them for something that brilliant that they've done. What is it that we always do? We always talk about memories.
Yeah.
Remember when,
Yeah.
and those are those times when we have that fun. So what memories are we creating together beyond
Let's
to
make some
a
recent
pinnacle
memories.
point? Yeah, a pinnacle point on our journeys, and that's important. Like, what memories do we want to create? Like when we get in arguments, when we talking about certain things, or what kind of memories do we want? What do we want to remember about each other? So I think that's important. That fun.
Yeah.
We gotta have fun, things are hard. You gotta come to your sister girlfriends. You know how we do, come together, talk about it, laugh, snap out on somebody
Right.
together. But we gotta have some fun
Pull
too.
up on somebody if we have to.
But what you said, I think, yeah, it's so important. It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
And
Y'all ain't like that. Y'all ain't like when I said pull up. I ain't getting no amen on that.
oh, I ain't hear you.
Go ahead, like we don't still pull up.
Oh, yes. It's nothing like having somebody that's going to be down for a good Easter egg hunt on somebody's car. But that's definitely,
Right.
That was
Don't
long,
listen. Don't
long, long,
listen to
long
them,
time ago.
y'all. Don't
Long,
listen.
long, 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 long time ago.
I mean, I would never put my sister girlfriend in a predicament
That
that
was a
caused her
long,
to get in
long, long, long
trouble.
time ago.
But
But the fact that you was down for it.
right,
You said pull up.
well, look. But I like what you said, man. It's good to know. Even now, I think too that's a difference too that I see as we, with my, girlfriends. It's like, okay, back in the day, I would have probably been that one to ride or die and been like, yeah, let's go do it, not thinking about the consequences because that's my friend, that's my sister. And I
Yeah.
think now as a woman who's mature, I understand it a little bit differently. Like I understand what it means to show up and you know what it means to truly be a ride or die. And it's not what we oftentimes see on TV where we about to go take a bath because then that clearly can lead to some legal issues, right? So what am I pulling them
Yeah.
in to do? To say,
You're right.
let's think about this because let's be real. Palmer over here, she will be quick. Like, well, let's assess that. Let's see. And I love it because if I come to either both of you gonna give me your perspective, but it's not going to be anything that's going to harm me, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
back in the day, the Amanda could have been like, yeah, let's go get these eggs,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm talking about back in the day. When you talk about pull up, that's where my mind automatically went. But yeah. Just show, yeah, I got your back, girl.
That changing and growing is hard though, because
Mm-hmm.
um when those things change, like you might have a friend who's used to you pulling up, beating somebody up, standing up for you when you know you did wrong, things like that. Some of us may expect the person to show up and pull up the same way they pulled up 5 years ago, and that's just not who they are. So I think too, thinking about our friendships and thinking about us growing and learning in a healthy way without it being so troubling is like thinking about that too. The way that I pulled up, hopefully, God willing, I'm not the same I did 5 years ago. God will, like, we should want that for each other.
I think about and this is way off because we talking about it might be on topic, but I think about that elevator fight with Solange. I'm like, what? I still want to know what did he do? I'm just like, so when you think about pulling, like, I'm like, what did he do? And but I see me like that's how I am with my sisters, with my friends, with my dear people that I find really dear and close to me. Um, and yeah, it's not the best response. And but really, just like you saying, switching roles, and then you go to somebody and they probably not that same person anymore. I was never that person, but now I grew into the person that I will physically hurt you if you hurt somebody I love. But I was never that person. But I know my older sister, she's always been protective. She's like, I call her my big brother. Like in a we living in the hood, and you gotta have somebody that got your back, and she was that person. But now since she's older and she has a kid and she has more to lose, so the roles to me can reverse in both ways. But this who said pull up? Let's change the subject.
That said pull up and everything
That
just
was you.
her mom was like pull
But
up.
I like this.
Because
I like
I
where
think
it
that
went.
comes
I like
in.
where all this went.
I think that comes in because we think about what I hear from you, Amanda, is being defenders of our sisters, being, advocates for our sisters in some shape or form, right?
Mm-hmm.
And however you define that or how you identify it. So some people it may be, hey, let's pull up, right? But it ultimately it's really the defensiveness that come in for the sisters that we love, those that our friends, that the ones that we call like we ain't blood, but and in your case that was blood, but that's my sister. And when someone hurt her, like I'm wanting to.
Yeah. But I think that but we
But it's
need each
needed.
other in that way.
Yes.
It's not physical,
Yes.
it's spiritual, like all of
Wait,
that. All of
Yes.
that.
but yeah, like
We need to
physical.
feel
I mean, I ain't saying we
like
don't
I
need
got
it.
you.
I'm just saying that's what, to me, that when I heard Amanda explaining, that's what comes in for me. Like, yeah, I'm
No,
coming.
I agree. What I'm saying is I agree with you because I'm thinking about too, like when we get to certain levels in our lives, right? We could do this, we could do this, level it out, whatever. Not hierarchy, but when we
Right.
do certain things in our life, when we really walk into our purpose and we shine in and
Mm,
everything that we've always seen that the world is just catching up.
right.
We do get people who try to tear us down.
Yes.
We get people who try to like come between that. And as sister girlfriends, we need to be there for each other,
Mhm.
especially in this world. So no, I mean, Amanda, you do it how you show up, right? Um, and we grow in those manners, but also we have to stand up, even if it's saying no, you're wrong.
Right.
You're
Right.
wrong about my sister
Mm,
because this is who she is. So I agree. Like we have to do all of that when we get to these moments because we know how people are. We know
right.
how people can be because we know how we used to be. So we know how folks can be.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Women's History Month. It's March. But they was just trying to take our rights away.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
still not no, they still in the motion of trying to do that. Like, so I mean, yeah, celebrate it this month, but also understand we're gonna keep speaking out for our sisters.
Right.
I think it just
Right.
all of that.
And,
All of
and
that. It just feels
right.
so good knowing that somebody has your back, and it doesn't have to be physically, but it feels good when somebody even speaks up for you. Like you don't even, like God say, I got your battles or whatever, but someone is like a physical manifestation of don't say nothing, I got this.
Mhm.
It feels good, and especially Black women, we need to feel that. We need to
Right.
now we feel more of it. That's what I feel like we should feel more of that.
And what we said so far was if we want to, it's the preacher in me. First, we said show up, right? Pull up.
Pull up.
And now we say speak up. Okay, let's get to the third point. Show up, speak up. What else
We
we say?
better bring this together. Amen. Let the spirit
Ian
lead
Palmer tied in.
you. Just following the Holy Spirit.
Oh, man. I've been reading a lot of Audre Lorde and Pat Parker, right? And they're poets, and a lot of people talking about them other ways, like activists and writers. I mean, they have a lot of different titles for a lot of the people in the world. And one thing that and it's a book. It's let me get the name real quick that I was reading. Sister Love. I think it's called Sister Love. No, Sister Love, the letters of Audre Lorde and Pat Parker, right? So these editors, these two women, and I'll get their name later, they put together a book of their letters because they used to write letters to each other. And when I started reading, I was like, this is just so dope. It was so dope because you could literally read their friendship and how it like developed and how they were growing together. And I wanted to read just one point of it and then we could just talk about it if we want to. If not, we could just move on. But this was Pat Parker who this is what she said to Audrey, and then she responds. So she says, I look forward to the time when you and I can sit down for a very long period of time and talk out a lot of the things that have been happening to us and happening between us. So in response, Audrey writes, I feel it is important for you and I to maintain some kind of clarity between us, since I have a feeling that we have been used against each other in petty ways. And I'm like, this is just so clear and raw and vulnerable for two
Mm-hmm.
women to be friends and know and see the systems around them, the things around them that try to tear them apart and say, we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
And um and the fact that they even said we're going to sit down and talk about, what this looks like for us. And these were two women. I said them because I'm a writer, but also they have made a profound impact in the world. And they're celebrated often in this month. And I'm thinking about like, okay, so what did it take for them to get to that point? And this is some of the work that they did. You know, we read their work, we see all the great things they did. When we talk about sister girlfriend relationships, they were working on it. They were working on it, and I think they were giving each other what they needed, you know, in order to get to certain points in their lives. And I every time I read it, I don't even think I finished the book. I think I stopped. I had to put it away like, oh, they reading me. You know, you post up, they reading me. But um yeah, it really made me look at friendships of women. We get like an inside look of women who we feel like are like like the sachets and the goddesses of the world and stuff. So but I loved it. I loved it.
Really like that. Wait, what's the name of the book again? I'm gonna write it down.
It's Sister Love. It's the letters between Audre Lorde and Pat Parker.
You should do a book club.
Yeah, that is good. And it just makes me think like something that came up for me when you were speaking this about like how they were able to help one another get to their journeys
Hmm.
um, into where they're at. And what does that look like, right? Especially if my path is so different from yours. What does that look like for you to help me get there? And what does that look like for me to give it, but not only to give it, but to also receive it? Like, how am I able to say to my sisters, hey, this is what I need?
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I think that that's key because I think that I think sometimes, and I don't know for everybody, I know for myself, I do get so fixated just up in my own world of life. I'm just moving. Things are happening. And then people are like, oh, well, why didn't you mention this to me? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. But then I have friends who will let me know about their stuff that's going on. And I try to be supportive to them because that's me. That's who I am. And so it's kind of like that, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's like kind of like I can be there for them and they probably feel like, well, I want to be there for you too.
Mm,
But you got to let me know how. And I'm just, it's interesting. And yeah.
that's good. That's on
Yeah.
point. How to be there for no, how to receive people showing up for you. You
Yeah.
don't trust that people want to show up for you. People like you display all this love and give people another opportunity, to bless you. Um, that is so true, and that's on point. Because when I had my I had my art show, I ain't tell nobody for real. I just posted it, and I was like, yeah, they show up, they show up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then when it happens, it's like, oh damn, I wish I would have told them I wanted them to come. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
like you
Yeah.
don't want to experience something beautiful without
Mm-hmm.
people that mean the most to you. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um so that's good. And then to go back to sister love, I just think like dang, why these are two like you say like goddesses in the literary game, but why couldn't they just coexist? Why can't they just both be goddesses? And it was literally outside forces trying to pin them against each other, trying to make it competitive. Why? And it is a pattern that like black people can't all be great at one time. Like it always just got to be one at a time. And not it's not us doing that. It is, you got the media and propaganda that it can only be one. But I like that they said, no, you I'm gonna embrace you and you my sister. We're gonna show this love and respect for each other together.
Yeah. And what I like about it is that you know how you ever hear that? It's like a cliche statement, but empowered women empower women, right? You ever heard that? And I believe it's true, but I'm more concerned with, or I'm interested to know what happens when you have an empowered woman and someone who's not, you know, and that's your friend. And I think, sometimes you have to not change who you are, because if you're empowered, there's like, it's a power, it's a force. I think it speaks more to just doing one thing, but it's like this is a way of life for me. And I think that's showing our sister girlfriends, like, what does it look like? Because a lot of people talk about like how revolutionary it is to have sisters, or um, how it can help us get through life, and I believe that to be true. So, empowered women, yes, they empower women,
Mhm.
even our sisters who may not be empowered. And then later on, and then soon will come that we both will feel empowered by each other. And I
Mhm.
think that's what they were doing. I think that's what they were doing. Like, they were empowered women who were saying, you know what? We already know what can happen when we come together. We already know what can happen when we shine, when we do what we gotta do. So we're gonna make sure that we don't let anyone take our power away. So that's what I loved about, at least what I read about their friendship, and what I see. It also what I see in the world, and hopefully what I am to other people, because I am a person, a person who's flawed, but that's what I pray, that the connections I have be ones of empowerment, uh, of power, and that as other people celebrate us, it's nothing new to us because we've been celebrating each other.
Mhm. Amen. That's what I got. Like some people not together at the same time. And then what you always say empowered one, but there's gonna be a minute where we don't feel empowered. And that one person that's empowered or was not empowered, but now empowered because you sparked that empowerment in them. So later down the line, when you down, that person can help lift you up. You know what I mean? It's a chain reaction. Like Mary and Martha.
Because
Look,
we
that's my person. I got Mary. No, not Mary and Martha. Mary and Elizabeth. Those my girls. Um, I take them. They help each other
real
out.
life, real life, and I think too. I think from what I understand is Audrey was more of like a mentor to Pat, but they were friends,
Uh,
and I find myself in a lot of those situations, where a lot of my friends I may be mentoring them in some type of way, right? But at times the sister who's helping someone or guiding someone, those roles reverse. We said that earlier.
mm.
Roles reverse in relationships, and that should be something that we all aspire to experience.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on our Sister Girlfriends podcast. This has been such a beautiful, sacred time. Always, always. We're gonna leave you with our 3 points that Spirit just led us with. So remember, in your relationships with your girlfriends, and just as you just journey in relationships, um, remember to pull up, speak up, and remember to glow up. We're gonna glow up with our sisters. Okay. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. If you got anything from this, feel free to leave us a comment, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Are we gonna say
Not to say about-
Happy International Women's History Month?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Happy International Women's History Month.
Happy International Women's History.
Happy International
No,
Women's
but
History Month.
no, seriously.
Y'all want to say
Happy
it together?
International Women's History Month, y'all. Celebrate your sisters, celebrate yourself, and the sister girlfriends. We celebrate all of you.
And that song, God.